Good morning, students. Today I welcome you all to the Java Programming Lab session. Today we are going to study about Java threads. So what are Java threads? A thread is a facility to allow multiple activities within a single process. Referred as lightweight process, a thread is a series of executed statements. Each thread has its own program counter, stack, and local variables. A thread is a nested sequence of method calls. It shares memory, files, and per process state. So what happens if we talk about processor? It takes the processes from the RAM, and the processes are made up of some set of instructions. So every process have some set of instruction. Each instruction can be dependent or independent also. So we can run those instruction independently also, or you can say parallelly. We call those instructions are connected by the threads. That is what we are going to study. So now let us study what is the need of a thread or why we use threads. To perform asynchronous or background processing, we study thread. Increases It increases the responsiveness of a GUI application, that is graphical user interface. Take advantage of multiprocessor system and simplify program logic when there are multiple independent entities. Now let us move forward to the thread creation. Thread implementation in Java can be achieved in two ways: extending the java.lang thread class or implementing the java.lang.runnable interface. You can note the thread and runnable are available in java.lang.asterisk package. So these are two ways how we are going to implement a thread. Firstly, I will use runnable interface because it is the most important for thread creation, and then I will tell you about the thread classes. Before going through the programming part, let us first study the theory of thread creation. First one was by extending thread class. The class should extend Java thread class. The class should override the run method. The functionality that is expected by the thread to be executed is written in the run method. You can use void start that creates a new thread and makes it runnable, and then the void run method. The new thread begins its life inside this method. You can see, you can pause the video and look after for the example that how we create a thread using a thread class. Here is a class that is my thread and it extends thread. So we have a public void run method inside it, and we have given system.out.println method for our element to be displayed. Then in the main class we have created an object by using the thread my thread class, and then we have given obj.start method. Second one is by implementing runnable interface. So here we are going to study how we are going to create a thread using runnable interface. The class should implement the runnable interface. The class should implement the run method in the runnable interface. The functionality that is expected by the thread to be executed is put in the run method. Example is, you can see that first look in the main section, uh, that thread t equals to new thread, and it has the reference of the my thread class given above. And then you can see the above section that we have implemented the runnable interface with the help of class my thread that implements runnable. Inside that we have the run method, public void run method, and then system.out.println shows what we want to display. And in the main section you can see that we have given t.start method to start this thread. So here we are in the Eclipse workspace, and we are going to implement first runnable interface to show you how we are going to create a thread. So first, create a new class. I'm just giving, I would like to give it the name educate, and then public static void main, and there you go, you have your workspace. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write thread a equals to new thread, and inside it I'm going to give the reference of the class that I'm going to create above. And then I want to have a second object, that is thread b equals to new thread, and new y, that would be for the reference of a second class, that is y we are going to give above. Then we are going to write class x implements runnable, and inside it we have to create a run method, that would be public void run, and there you go, you have your method. Inside it I'm going to give int I, and I want to initialize it with 0 to 5 iteration. It will take the iteration from 0 to 5, and then I want to print it, so I will use system.out.println method, and inside it I will give thread x, and I'm going to put it in within the double inverted commas and concatenate the I with it. Then again I will copy and paste it again, because I have taken a second class, that is y, and implemented it with the runnable interface. Everything is going to be the same inside it, and then we have to change just x to y. Inside the main section, what we are going to do is we have to give the start method. So I would say a dot start, you can see a dot start, and then b dot start method, so it will start a thread implementation. So you can see we have created these two objects and given the reference of two classes we have implemented above with the runnable interface. Inside inside both of the class we have given the run method and the functional part inside it. And now I'm going to run it. As you can see that first it has implemented the thread x, that is 0, then y 0, y1, y2, y3, y4, and y is finished here. Then it has begun with x1, x2, x3, x4, and x5. It will change every time I run it again. So you can see x0, x1, y0, y1, x2, x3, y2, x4. You can see x has been executed first. Firstly, in the second time of execution, x has been implemented first, and then y has been implemented. You can, if you recall earlier, the first execution, the y was implemented earlier, and then after it, x was implemented. Now this is the third execution where we are starting with x0 and y0, and y is completed first, then the x is completed first. So this is how we are going to create the thread with the help of runnable interface. Now I am going to show you how we are going to create a thread